Now let's move to K-12 education spending. The state budget allocates $7.2 billion for K-12 education, an 11.7 increase from last year, and that is on top of hundreds of millions of federal dollars still being spent to reduce the effects of COVID closures. Including local property tax revenue, total base spending for K-12 classrooms is estimated to be $8.4 billion, a 5.4% increase from last year. An average per pupil spending would be $9,560, $545 more dollars than last year, a 6% increase. Valerie, a Jeffco Kids parent, is here to ask our next question.
Hi, my name is Valerie Leal, and I'm one of those Democrats that's voting differently for the first time. You might ask why. I've been following Heidi and got connected through Jeffco Kids First with her. Number one, their priority is children. She's the only one I've seen that actually seems to care. She listens to parents, and she's trying to hold government accountable for how they do their spending. So my question is around spending. With declining enrollment in public schools and increasing funding, what would you change about our tax dollars and how they are allocated to school districts and how school districts spend the dollars they receive?
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and being open to listening to other ideas and not getting stuck in the party discussions, because this really isn't about party, it's about our kids. And we all want what's best for our kids. And as far as how the funding goes, I would like the funding to follow the actual student, so that if a student wants to go to a different district, if they want to go to a charter school or a private school, a religious school, if you want to homeschool, do a micro school, that you have access to those dollars so that you can do what's best for your child. Now, when they say we're taking the dollars out of the public system, well, if it follows the student, if a student or a family decides to leave the system, they don't have to educate the student anymore. So that's one less student. They don't need that money to invest in that student. Perhaps we'll have smaller classes then, because one of the keys for a lot of kids is smaller classrooms. One of my children has dyslexia, the other has dysgraphia, and they really, really struggled in the public school systems with 30 kids in a class. They couldn't get the attention they need. And I fought for them to get IEPs up in Boulder Valley School District. And God bless, the teachers and the faculty were amazing. They tried to help, but all they could do was 30 minutes of help a week. And it just didn't move the needle. And I thought, wow, if I'm a parent with this many resources and I'm a regent and I know how this works and I can't get my kids the help they need, how do we help a single mom in downtown Denver working 3 jobs that can barely figure out how to put meals on the table or gas in the car to make a difference for her kids? Because we do have school choice in Colorado if you can afford to bring your kid out of their school. But if you can't afford it, you don't have choice. And the other thing that's really important about this is transportation. We've got to make sure the transportation dollars allow for the districts to move kids around in a unique or innovative way too, which they turned down at the Capitol over the last couple sessions as well. So having the funding follow the student, I think, is the most impactful thing we can do. And then locally, if local districts or school boards want to provide more money through mill levy overrides, et cetera, that's up to them. I honor that. But from a governor's perspective, I think the most important thing we can do is education savings accounts, tax credits, and getting the dollars directly to the families so they can make the best decisions for their children.
Yeah. So you can see why I joined this ticket, right? She is just powerful, and she's passionate about this. And I can tell you, I was at a Common Sense Institute event, and they talked about school funding, and I was shocked. I didn't know that 22,000 kids had left the public school system. I didn't know that they were predicting 66,000 more kids are going to leave the public school system. Now, here's the trickle-down effect of that. What happens is that communities dry up. There's no high school football game to go to. There's no band to go to. There's no theater to go to. Communities dry up. Kids lose that attachment to a community. So the crisis is real. They're closing down schools in Jefferson County. They're closing down schools in Denver County. The other thing that shocked me is when I realized that there's been a 30% increase in funding for students, but there's been a 70+% increase in funding for administrators. Think about that. Our teachers, 1/5 of our teachers can't afford homes in the communities that they serve. Our teachers are not being compensated. We have great teachers. but we're funding the wrong side of education. We need to draw down some of the administration, support our teachers, and create an environment where they want to teach our kids. That's where the funding should go, and that's what Heidi's talking about, making sure that the kids are funded, the families are funded, and not individual administration. And that's why I'm on this ticket, because if anybody can get it done, Heidi Ganal can get it done. Yeah.
Hey, Lindsay, can I just add one fact, too? We did some research with a pretty well-known education reform organization here in Colorado, and the average classroom gets $250,000 in funding, and only $50,000 of that goes to the teacher. So that's what we mean when we mean move the money back into the classroom with the teacher and away from the administration. And that's happening in higher ed too. At CU, we have all these new administrators. The administrative bloat is huge. Well, that's paid for by tuition dollars. And it's moving money out of the classroom, away from the teachers, and into administrative bloat.
Thank